For decades, the Rat Pack's unparalleled charm and charisma have enchanted audiences across the globe, becoming synonymous with the glitz and glamour of old Hollywood. Yet, behind the polished suits, smooth croons, and martini-fueled escapades, there exist untold stories waiting to be uncovered. One of Hollywood's most beloved icons, Ernest Borgnine, has decided to finally pull back the curtain on one of the most enigmatic figures in entertainment history, Dean Martin. What was Dean Martin really like behind that suave, devil-may-care persona? Were there secrets that only Ernest Borgnine knew, hidden behind the cool exterior? Prepare for a revelation that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the King of Cool. Let's begin with the deep and fascinating bond between Ernest Borgnine and Dean Martin. Borgnine, a brilliant actor in his own right, had the unique fortune of working with some of the most iconic names in Hollywood. Among these names was Dean Martin, and their friendship blossomed in a way that many might not expect. Picture the scene. Borgnine, fresh off the set of From Here to Eternity, possibly wondering what sort of musical he had wandered into, only to bump into Dean Martin on set. Little did he know, this encounter would stick with him forever. As Borgnine recounts, he was leaving the set when Dean, always the professional, turned to the audience and said, "Now there's an actor." It wasn't just a casual compliment. It was a sincere recognition of Borgnine's talent. Right then and there, Borgnine realized that Dean wasn't just some aloof superstar, but someone who truly valued his peers in the business. But who exactly was Dean Martin? Born Dino Paul Crocetti in the working-class town of Steubenville, Ohio, Martin's early life wasn't filled with the luxurious trappings of fame. He spoke Italian at home, struggled to learn English in school, and even dropped out before finishing high school. A rough start indeed, but perhaps this adversity would lay the foundation for his future success. Martin wasn't afraid to break a few rules. He dabbled in boxing, bootlegging, and even fought under the name Kid Crochet in the ring. But fate had different plans. It was music that would eventually be his calling. The smooth crooner began his career singing in local clubs, where his unique voice caught the attention of those in the know. Soon, his musical talent was undeniable, and his path to stardom was set. The outbreak of World War II temporarily derailed his ascent when he was drafted into the Army, but he was discharged early. Undeterred, he jumped back into the spotlight, where he would soon meet another up-and-coming star, Jerry Lewis. The duo of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis would become one of the most legendary comedy partnerships of the 20th century. Their meeting at a nightclub sparked an unforgettable on-stage chemistry. Dean was the suave, smooth singer, while Jerry was the manic, physical comedian. Together, they created a perfect storm of contrast, fire and ice, and the world took notice. Their debut performance at Atlantic City's 500 Club didn't initially go as planned. The audience seemed more puzzled than amused, and the club owner, Skinny D'Amato, even threatened to throw them off stage unless they upped their game. But the two never backed down from a challenge. Instead of fading into obscurity, Dean and Jerry hit the drawing board, reworked their act, and came back stronger than ever. Their new show was pure magic. Jerry would break up Dean's performances, sending him into hilarious chases across the stage. The audience went wild. Their dynamic was irresistible. In no time, the duo was a sensation, and they soon found themselves performing on The Ed Sullivan Show, a platform that would propel them even further into the cultural zeitgeist. With a lucrative radio deal and an increasing number of fans, their popularity seemed unstoppable. But as with many great partnerships, things were bound to unravel. Dean began to feel overshadowed by Jerry's manic antics. He longed to explore other musical avenues, feeling that the slapstick comedy of their act was starting to overshadow his singing. But their contract with Paramount, which had been extremely lucrative, left him feeling trapped. It was during this time that Dean made the difficult decision to go solo. His departure in 1954 marked the end of an era for the duo and the beginning of a new chapter for Martin. The world was skeptical. How could Dean Martin stand alone without Jerry? His solo career would surely crash and burn, critics argued. But Dean had something they didn't see coming: talent, resilience, and a drive to prove himself. He shifted his focus from comedy to his singing career, and he wasn't just good. He was extraordinary. Songs like That's Amore, Memories Are Made of This, and Everybody Loves Somebody would go on to become timeless classics, cementing Dean as a staple in the world of music. But Dean Martin wasn't content to just sing. He wanted to act, to become a true movie star. His early efforts in film were mixed, but 1958's The Young Lions changed everything. In this war drama, Martin found his footing, and the film's success catapulted him back into the limelight. Dean, now rubbing elbows with Hollywood royalty like John Wayne and Ricky Nelson, earned his first Golden Globe nomination. From there, he would go on to star in an array of films, solidifying his reputation as a multifaceted performer. He wasn't just a singer, he was a true Hollywood icon. And then came the Rat Pack: Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, and of course, Dean Martin, the original Vegas Party Boys. The Rat Pack defined an era, blending music, comedy, and effortlessly cool swagger. They were the epitome of chic, their shows becoming the stuff of legend. But Dean, with his unmistakable charm, was perhaps the smoothest of them all. The Dean Martin Show, which aired in the 1960s, epitomized his relaxed, cool as a cucumber persona. In a tuxedo, effortlessly tossing off a one-liner or two and bantering with guests, he was the picture of effortless sophistication. The show was a hit, but behind the scenes, it was clear that Dean was much more than the drunken playboy image he projected to the public. Though he lived his life as the ultimate bachelor, Dean was a devoted family man off-screen. His love for his wife and children was never in question, and despite his public persona as a drinker, those who knew him best would say that he wasn't nearly as indulgent in his private life. The man who portrayed a larger-than-life figure in public was, in many ways, a deeply private, family-oriented man. However, tragedy would strike in 1987, forever altering Dean's life. His son, Dean Paul Martin, tragically died in a plane crash while serving in the Air National Guard. The pain of losing his child was immeasurable, and it threw Dean into a spiral of depression. His drinking, which had always been part of his image, now became a source of solace, though it brought him little comfort. Even Frank Sinatra, his longtime friend, attempted to pull Dean out of his dark place by taking him on tour, but Dean remained distant, lost in his grief. As if the emotional toll wasn't enough, the years of smoking took their own toll. In 1993, Dean was diagnosed with lung cancer. Despite the recommendation for surgery, Dean stubbornly refused treatment. He retreated from the public eye and spent his final years with his family, quietly fading from the spotlight that had once been his to command. Dean Martin passed away on Christmas Day in 1995 at the age of 78. His death marked the end of an era, and the world mourned the loss of one of its greatest entertainers. Even the vibrant lights of Las Vegas dimmed for a moment as the city lost one of its most legendary figures. But Dean's legacy lives on, not only in his music and films, but in the hearts of those who were fortunate enough to witness his genius firsthand. Ernest Borgnine's insights into the enigmatic Dean Martin have pulled back the veil on a man who, for many, will always remain the king of cool. Behind the cigarettes, the martinis, and the wry smile was a man with a complex, rich life. A man who faced tragedy, enjoyed success, and forged lasting friendships with the icons of his time. The truth of Dean Martin, revealed through the eyes of his friend Borgnine, will forever change the way we remember the legend. The strip dimmed its lights in tribute to him, marking the passing of a man who went from a kid who dropped out of school to a global icon. Dean Martin's life story is a testament to perseverance, talent, and the kind of charisma that captivated the world. Now that we've explored the incredible legacy of Dean Martin, let's take a deeper look at the fascinating bond between him and one of Hollywood's most enduring figures, Ernest Borgnine. In his own words, Borgnine offers us a glimpse into a friendship that transcended the glitzy world of Hollywood, revealing a side of Dean Martin that went far beyond the suave Rat Pack swagger. What Borgnine revealed was not just about a legendary star, but about a loyal friend. Dean Martin was more than just a pretty face. He was a real pal. Let's take a moment to talk about Ernest Borgnine. Born Hermes Ephron Borgnine in 1917, he grew up in a working-class family in Connecticut, the son of Italian immigrants. From the very beginning, Borgnine's life wasn't destined to be glamorous. After high school, he did what many young men of his generation did. He joined the Navy. When World War II hit, he was right back in uniform, serving his country with honor. But after the war, Ernie found himself at a crossroads, uncertain about what direction to take in life. Borgnine wasn't cut out for factory work, but he quickly realized that he had a knack for something else, performing. His mother, always perceptive, told him, "You're always making a fool of yourself in front of people. Why not get paid for it?" Most kids would have rolled their eyes, but for Borgnine, it was a moment of epiphany. Sitting at the kitchen table, he realized that acting could be his path. It took 10 years of hard work, but eventually, that realization would pay off in the most spectacular way. By 1955, Grace Kelly was handing him an Oscar for his role in Marty. Borgnine's journey to stardom began at the Randall School of Drama in Hartford, followed by a stint at the Barter Theater in Virginia, a theater that, during the Great Depression, allowed people to trade goods like apples and eggs for tickets. His first professional role came in 1947 in State of the Union, a modest part, but enough to get his foot in the door. By 1949, he was ready for Broadway, making his debut in Harvey, playing a nurse of all things. His success on stage quickly transitioned into television, where he became a familiar face on shows like Captain Video and his Video Rangers and Goodyear Television Playhouse. It wasn't long before Hollywood came calling. Borgnine's first film role came in The Whistle at Eaton Falls, 1951, but his breakthrough came when he was cast as the cruel Sergeant Fatso Judson in From Here to Eternity, 1953. The film went on to win Best Picture, and Borgnine's performance caught the attention of critics and audiences alike. He was no longer just an up-and-coming actor. He was a force to be reckoned with in Hollywood. But despite his success, Borgnine wasn't afraid to take on complex roles, including a string of villainous parts in films like Johnny Guitar and Vera Cruz. However, it was his portrayal of Marty in the 1955 film of the same name that solidified his place in Hollywood history. Marty, a shy and lovable butcher, won the hearts of viewers and critics alike, earning Borgnine an Oscar and a Golden Globe. He went from a TV actor to a true film icon, with the world now seeing him as not just a talented actor, but a star. From there, Borgnine's career continued to soar. In 1962, he signed on for McHale's Navy, a World War II sitcom that showcased his comedic chops as the gruff yet lovable Captain Quentin McHale. The show was an instant hit, landing in the top 30 of the Nielsen ratings during its first season, and Borgnine earned an Emmy nomination for his portrayal. However, after 4 successful seasons, the show began to lose steam, and it was canceled in 1966. But Borgnine didn't slow down. Over the next few decades, Ernest Borgnine became a household name, appearing in some of the most iconic films of the era. He starred in The Dirty Dozen, The Poseidon Adventure, and Escape from New York. He even had a memorable turn as Dutch in The Wild Bunch, a gritty western that carried a powerful moral message. Borgnine believed that every film should have a moral, and he felt that, In his heyday, the bad guys always got what was coming to them. Nowadays, it feels like they're running the show, he would later remark with his trademark wit. TV was where Borgnine truly became a familiar face. Shows like Little House on the Prairie, Magnum, P.I., The Love Boat, and Touched by an Angel became synonymous with his versatile acting. You couldn't flip through the channels without seeing his warm, gruff demeanor in a new role. His incredible range across genres and mediums made him Hollywood's go-to guy for any role, from tough guy villain to heartwarming family man. Even in his later years, Borgnine remained a sought-after actor, showing up in the final episodes of ER and making a lasting impact on viewers. In 1983, Borgnine returned to television in Airwolf, co-starring with Jan Michael Vincent as the lovable helicopter pilot Dominic Santini. The series was a hit, but it wasn't without its challenges. The grueling shooting schedule and a strained relationship with his younger co-star led to exhaustion. By 1986, CBS pulled the plug on the show, giving Borgnine a much-needed break. But just when you thought he would slow down, he found himself in Namibia, filming Laser Mission with Brandon Lee. The film, which was released in 1990, didn't win any awards, but Borgnine's spirit was undiminished. By 1995, Borgnine was back on TV in The Single Guy, playing Manny Cordoba, the lovable doorman. His energy on set was unmatched. He was always the first to arrive and the last to leave, often cracking jokes and keeping the entire cast laughing. That same year, he starred in the quirky fantasy film Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders, which gained a cult following after being roasted on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Borgnine's adventurous spirit didn't stop there. He toured the U.S. on a bus, meeting fans and seeing the country. The journey was documented in the 1997 film Ernest Borgnine on the Bus, a tribute to the man's extraordinary life. But even as he enjoyed his retirement, Borgnine never stopped giving back. He regularly visited VA hospitals as part of the national salute to hospitalized veterans, always staying connected to the people who had supported him throughout his career. By 1997, Borgnine had fully embraced his role as a Hollywood legend, reprising his iconic character of Quentin McHale in a reunion special of McHale's Navy. Passing the torch to a new generation, Borgnine showed that, even in his later years, he could still capture the hearts of fans. His legacy would be cemented as one of Hollywood's most enduring stars, a testament to the power of resilience, versatility, and the sheer force of his personality. Ernest Borgnine's career was nothing short of legendary. His friendship with Dean Martin, filled with moments of true camaraderie, sheds light on a side of both men that many never saw. Behind the jokes, the movies, and the public personas, these two icons shared a bond that stood the test of time, proving that beneath the glitz and glam of Hollywood, real friendship is the ultimate treasure. Ernest Borgnine's career continued to be a showcase of versatility and passion, even well into his later years. In 2006, he joined the cast of Basketball, playing a wealthy entrepreneur who was as ridiculous as he was entertaining. But it was his role as Mermaid Man in SpongeBob SquarePants that truly captured the hearts of a new generation. Paired with his McHale's Navy buddy Tim Conway as Barnacle Boy, Borgnine completely embraced the role of the retired superhero. Kids loved him, adults adored him, and when he passed, Nickelodeon paid tribute by airing all of his Mermaid Man episodes, a heartfelt gesture that proved just how much his work had meant to so many. Borgnine didn't stop there. In 2007, he starred in the Hallmark movie A Grandpa for Christmas, a heartwarming tale about a grandfather reconnecting with his estranged granddaughter. The role earned him a Golden Globe nomination at 90 years old, making him the oldest nominee ever. He also found time to pen his autobiography, Ernie, which wasn't your typical serious memoir. Instead, it was a delightful collection of stories that showcased his humor and charm. In 2009, at 92, He appeared in the final season of ER, delivering a gut-wrenching performance as a husband watching his wife pass away. His portrayal was so powerful that it earned him an Emmy nomination, his first in nearly 3 decades. The same year, he starred in Harvest Moon, a film that proved that age was truly just a number for this remarkable actor. Even into his 90s, Borgnine continued to entertain, appearing in his final film, The Man Who Shook the Hand of Vicente Fernandez, in 2011. Despite his many accolades, what truly defined Borgnine was his unrelenting energy and his genuine love for his fans. Whether it was making a cameo on Saturday Night Live, appearing in Red alongside Morgan Freeman, or simply cracking jokes on set, he never lost his sense of humor or his charm. Ernest Borgnine was the definition of unstoppable. Ernest Borgnine and Dean Martin, 2 towering figures in Hollywood, may have taken vastly different paths to fame, but their friendship remains one of the most enduring and heartfelt stories to emerge from Tinseltown. It's a tale that transcends the glitz, glamour, and cutthroat competition often associated with the entertainment industry. Their bond was based on mutual respect, admiration, and a shared sense of authenticity that was rare in a business often defined by superficiality and ego. For Borgnine, the friendship with Martin was more than just a Hollywood connection. It was the kind of relationship that not only endured the highs and lows of their careers, but also stood the test of time, offering both men a sense of camaraderie that went beyond the usual star-studded ties. One of the most memorable moments Ernest Borgnine recalled about their friendship perfectly encapsulated the essence of Dean Martin's effortless cool. It was a simple yet powerful moment on set that left a lasting impression on Borgnine. After finishing a scene, Borgnine overheard Martin casually point at him and say, "Now there's an actor." For a man who had grown up admiring Martin, a figure so synonymous with charisma and charm, hearing such a sincere compliment from the king of cool himself was nothing short of remarkable. The praise, coming from someone of Martin's stature, was unexpected and humbling. For Borgnine, it was a moment that not only validated his craft but also solidified the deep respect he had for his friend. That single offhand comment, full of warmth and genuine admiration, made Borgnine's week, and in all likelihood it made his year. It was these small gestures, free from pretense, that defined their friendship. Borgnine would go on to describe Dean Martin as the most wonderful man he had ever known. Their connection was instant, almost as if they had known each other for years, and their friendship was rooted in a deep understanding of each other. It wasn't based on the usual superficial bonds that often form in Hollywood. Rather, it was built on trust, laughter, and an appreciation for each other's unique personalities. Despite his massive fame, Dean was never one to demand attention. He was the kind of person who made you feel like the most important person in the room, whether you were a fellow A-list star or a crew member behind the scenes. He had an innate ability to make people feel valued and appreciated, often with a wink, a drink, and a lighthearted remark. He lifted people up without ever asking for anything in return. But there was more to Dean than his smooth-talking, martini-sipping persona. Beneath the veneer of Hollywood's ultimate charmer was a man of deep kindness and integrity. Borgnine often remarked that Dean's kindness wasn't some act or a carefully crafted image. It was simply who he was at his core. Whether someone needed advice, a laugh, or just a reassuring presence, Dean was always there. His natural wit and humor were a constant source of joy for those around him. It was Dean's humor that often served as the glue holding their friendship together. In Borgnine's eyes, no matter how difficult the situation, Dean had the uncanny ability to cut through the tension with a well-timed joke or a witty comment, brightening even the darkest days. Yet, as much as Dean was known for his charm and quick wit, there was a side to him that only a few, like Borgnine, truly got to see: the more vulnerable, private side. Behind that ever-present smile and carefree attitude, Dean carried his own personal struggles. the kind of pain that only his closest friends would understand. Their friendship wasn't just about enjoying the good times together. It was about supporting each other through life's most difficult moments. One such moment came when Dean tragically lost his son, Dean Paul Jr., in a plane crash. Borgnine, ever the loyal friend, was there for him, not with empty words or platitudes, but with genuine support. He didn't try to fix the unfixable or offer meaningless cliches. Instead, he simply showed up for his friend, probably with a bottle of something strong in hand, because sometimes that's all you can do for someone grieving such a loss. The same kind of unwavering support was there when Borgnine faced his own struggles. Hollywood isn't always kind to aging stars, and like many in the industry, Borgnine experienced periods of doubt and career slumps. Yet Dean was always there to remind him of his worth. Dean wasn't just a cheerleader, he was a true friend, the kind who would call, visit, and make sure that Borgnine knew just how much he was appreciated by those around him. He reminded his friend of the impact he had made on audiences and how his talent had never diminished. In those tough moments, it was Dean's words that helped lift Borgnine's spirits, as they often did for so many others. But while their bond was solidified in times of hardship, it was also built on the simple joys of life. Both men shared a love for humor and laughter, and their time together was filled with it. Whether they were on set, sharing a drink after a long day, or simply chasing golf balls around, their camaraderie was always evident. Their banter was so natural, so full of wit and humor, that it could have easily been the basis for a comedy show of its own. Their playful exchanges made life on set far more enjoyable for everyone around them, and it was clear that their friendship made the work of acting far more fulfilling than the accolades or the fame that came with it. What truly made their bond so special, however, was the authenticity that defined it. In a world where egos and pretenses often reign supreme, Dean and Ernie were able to rise above all that. Their friendship was grounded in who they were as people, not in their celebrity status. There was no room for ego, no need for fake smiles or posturing. What mattered was that they genuinely cared for one another. In a town full of surface-level relationships, their friendship was as rare as a clean car in Los Angeles after a rainstorm, a rare, beautiful thing. In the end, the lasting friendship between Ernest Borgnine and Dean Martin is a powerful reminder of what truly matters in life. In a world that often elevates fame, fortune, and the superficial trappings of success, it's the people who stand by you through thick and thin that truly make life worth living. Dean and Ernie's bond proves that the greatest treasures in life aren't the awards or the red carpets. They are the friends who have your back no matter what. Through the inevitable ups and downs, the moments of triumph and tragedy, their friendship was a constant. It wasn't built on the fleeting nature of fame, but on something far more enduring: trust, loyalty, and a deep, unwavering connection between two men who, despite the world's expectations, always kept it real with each other.